It is Thursday, February 16th, 2023. This is your daily sports betting brand of record. We call it the Early Edge. Powered as always by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting. And it's not close. The chat is already hopping, and we got a big-time show for you. Coming off a really good day at the brand yesterday. How about Grace Remington making her debut in the Early Edge universe? Her first quarter Bulls up 24. Grizzlies at halftime up 16. And how about EC? Second straight day, he goes 3 for 4. It's amazing what happens when you don't play parlays all the time. Maybe a little education and entertainment for all of you at home. And then our man Buckets just doing what Buckets does, and that is win games. Now, speaking of winning games, how good do you think you are? How good of a handicapper do you think you can be? Sort of. We want you to participate in our brand new, that's right, March Madness Bracketology. It's almost here, and you know what that means. Brackets, come lock in your spot now for the 2023 Early Edge March Madness Challenge. As we all compete against each other, it's free for tournament glory. It's all about legacy. It's all about, can you beat the guy next to you? Can you beat the girl next to you? That's what it's all about. Take that QR code or go to tinyurl.com/theearlyedge to lock in your spot right now. And with all that being said, all the housekeeping done, what do I tell you guys all the time? If you ask, we listen. Well, today, for the second day in a row, we have a brand new person starting at the brand. So let's bring in the stars of the show. Oh, and I'm very, very, very excited to bring MMA back to the Early Edge. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, bottom left corner, we call him Danny Brasco. Danny, welcome to the show. Welcome to the brand.
Coach, team, thank you guys for having me. Looking forward to bringing some UFC winners for the people. Let's get it done.
You're damn right, for the people. That's what we're all about. You already get it. You already get it. Now, next, live, from her brand new apartment, mommy and daddy's house, no more. Allie, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Super happy we got that really nice, easy Hawks Leaf cash over in the second, and then we kind of got it right back in karma with that Lightning Coyotes game going 0-0 into overtime. So,
isn't that crazy? It's crazy how that works. But I encourage you to follow her on social media. You see it at Allie_sports. She's always posting stuff there. Now, next, he is live from just south of London, England. Danny, I bet you didn't even know we were international. He is the guru, Martin W. Green. Good morning, sir. No, good afternoon.
Good morning to you, Coach. Yeah, delighted to cash that Benfica pick yesterday. -105 on Benfica to beat Bruges was a great price. Hopefully we can keep it going today with some Europa League action.
All right. Now, finally, he's been here. I tell you all the time, since day freaking one. He is the maestro, Larry Hartstein. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, Danny. I just checked in with Jerry Palm, our CBS bracketologist, and he said Texas A&M is still not in the field. They're 11-2 in the conference, 1 game behind Alabama, but they have 2 quad 4 losses, Murray State and Wofford, and they just didn't play anyone outside of the conference schedule, which is just fascinating to me that they're still not in the dance.
Absolute bananas, but over the course of the next 4 weeks, we're going to have it top to bottom, left to right. We'll have it all for you here at the Early Edge. All right, let's get into it. Storylines that could affect the betting lines today. And you know when there's a full slate of Europa League, Europa Conference League, we're here for it. Guru, you're up first.
Yeah, there's been lots of exciting Champions League games going on this week, Coach. The Europa League is kind of the secondary competition in Europe, so you often don't get as glamorous fixtures, but we've actually got a huge game today between Barcelona and Manchester United. Barcelona, obviously top of the La Liga table, well clear of Real Madrid, and Manchester United are going great guns in the Premier League. So 2 real heavyweights coming up against one another. That is one of many exciting clashes to look forward to today. Interested to note that the sports books make Man United the +400 underdogs. That's a huge price, really, when you consider how strong they've been in recent weeks. They're superb on the counter-attack. They've got Marcus Rashford leading the charge. And they've got Casemiro in midfield. He's a veteran of many El Clasico games between Real Madrid and Barcelona. So he's going to relish the opportunity to go back to the new camp. I think that'll make Man United pretty competitive in this game. So, yeah, I don't really see they justify being such heavy underdogs. United in the draw double chance looks pretty appealing at plus 120, but perhaps the best option is both teams to score. That's minus 120, hoping for a great game there at the Nou Camp. And there's some other really interesting games too, which I will be breaking down a little bit later in the show.
And we cannot wait for that. By the way, I just looked, and Rashford is plus 260 to score a goal today. Would you like that?
I do like that, Coach. Yeah, he's been on fire lately, and those are very good odds. Barcelona aren't the strongest defensively, and he's got the pace to unlock that defense. So looks good to me.
Thank you very much. Sometimes when me and Guru talk next level soccer, I know it goes over a lot of people's heads, but we just try. We just try. All right, now up next, let me look at my notes, because anytime that a team becomes the number one ranked team in the country, this year it seems like they lose the very next week. Purdue, they're no different. Maestro, what do you got?
Yeah, Purdue in a tough spot. They're down to number 3 now. They're at Maryland tonight. They've lost their last 2 road games. And listen to the last 3 games. 16 turnovers, 17 turnovers, and 16 turnovers. And teams seem to be saying, we're not going to let Zach Edey beat us anymore, or at least we're going to try. 10 or fewer shots in 3 of his last 4 games. They're just sending everyone at Zach Edey, and they're also pressuring these guys in the backcourt. Now, occasionally, the other guys, Braden Smith and Lawyer, have stepped up, but I think other teams have realized we're going to make other guys beat us. And now they go to Maryland. It's going to be electric. Maryland has not lost a home game in conference all season, getting 1.5 right now. Definitely leaning towards the Terps here, but I would love to get 2 or 2.5.
If they didn't take Edey into the gym in the last 2 days and teach him how to pass out of double teams, then they're not doing their jobs. That was unbelievably frustrating to watch that the other night when we were on Purdue. And he couldn't even pass out of a double team. You're supposed to be the number 1 pick in the draft, potentially. Stop it. Be better. All right, now, Danny, you've seen how everybody does their storylines. So now I'm coming to you, because every single time there's a big fight night, every single time there's a pay-per-view, I want something from you. Now, this week, we've got a women's main event. You're up.
That's right. And in the main event, it's really a very important fight in the women's MMA game right now. Not the most noteworthy card, but this one matters. Erin Blanchfield taking on Jessica Andrade in what should be a women's flyweight title eliminator. The winner of this fight should see Valentina Shevchenko next. And in her 7 title defenses, aside from Valentina's last fight, there's been little resistance for her. Blanchfield presents a whole new set of skills with her wrestling. If she can get past Andrade, which is going to be a very tough test, I think she could offer some serious issues for Valentina. So I'll be really watching this fight closely and looking forward to a clash of styles between Blanchfield and Andrade in a great main event.
Quick question. When a main event is changed or one of the fighters is changed out, when you handicap, how much does that change what you look at and what you do?
Massively. I mean, that's a great point you make. Andrade stepping into this fight, the great fighter that she is, still taking it, very risky move on 8 days' notice, and now changing from a 3-round fight to a 5-round main event. That entirely changes the nature of the fight, her preparation beforehand, and the line is moving in the favor of Blanchfield too, so maybe you're onto something for that exact reason. So it does affect the handicapping in a big way.
Boom. See, Guru, I know MMA too. I'm not just a soccer expert. All right, I'm not just a soccer expert.
You're just an all-round expert, Coach.
All right, now our final storyline today. Allie, I'm coming to you because you're diving deep. You're diving deep into the AHL. When we have the AHL in a storyline, I'm all ears. What do you got?
Yep. So the poor Senators, Anton Forsberg, he tore both of his MCLs earlier in the week. So with that injury and also Cam Talbot being out, the Sens are stuck with 2 AHL goalies, Mads Sogard and Kevin Mandolese. You'd think this would mean kind of bad luck and they're going to lose the games. But if you're looking at the last 2 wins that those goaltenders have played, they both won, and it was against the Flames and the Islanders. And I'm pretty sure the Sens were fairly decent dogs there. So the Senators play tomorrow against the Hawks, and they just got blown up by the Leafs last night. So definitely don't ignore them. I'm sure they're going to be fairly heavily favored. But I mean, considering that they've been doing pretty well with those new goalies, I think against a team like the Hawks that's not even really that competitive, should be an easy win.
Oh, my heart is full whenever Allie says easy win, because that usually means it's an easy win. All right, it's about time to get to our board for the day. But before we do that, you know I got to pay those pesky little bills. Here's a word from one of our incredible partners.
Europe's most exciting title race continues with world-class clubs, legendary rivals, and unbelievable goals.
Brilliant! What a goal!
The Serie A lives here on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount+.
All right, here we go. You know, here at Paramount Plus at CBS at the Early Edge, soccer is so very important. And I love it, Guru, when you can start us off. I love it when we've got big-time teams on the pitch. Now, with all that being said, I tease EC about his moneyline parlays. I will never tease you about your moneyline parlays because I'm here for them. Give it to me.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah, I'm aware that I was breaking the EC rule there, but there's just a couple of parlays that I really like this time. And as you correctly stated, there are some heavyweight teams in the Europa League because the team that finishes third in each Champions League group has dropped down to the Europa League now, and they're going into playoff clashes. So we've got some big fish in today's round of fixtures, starting off with Juventus. They should actually be second in the Serie A table, but they were deducted 15 points earlier this season as punishment for financial skullduggery. I would quite like it if the same thing happened to Manchester City in the Premier League, because then Arsenal might stand a chance of winning the title. But it has left Juventus ninth in the standings, gone from second to ninth. So their only realistic chance of qualifying for next season's Champions League is by winning the Europa League, because that guarantees you a place. To that end, I think they should beat Nantes today. Nantes are currently languishing in 13th place in Ligue 1, not a particularly good team, so Juventus really should be able to overpower them. I'm combining a Juventus win with Sporting Lisbon to beat Midtjylland of Denmark. The Danish league season ended for the winter break back in November, and it still hasn't even resumed yet. It's absolutely freezing in Denmark right now, so they can't play. So I think the Midtjylland players could be a bit rusty. They're currently 7th in the Danish league table as well, which is pretty underwhelming. I think they could be outclassed by Sporting Lisbon, who just showed flashes of brilliance in the Champions League group stage earlier this season. They beat Tottenham. They were playing really well. Didn't quite work out for them. They finished third in their group, but I think they look like one of the stronger teams in the Europa League. So sticking them two together for a two-team parlay looks great. And just quickly looking ahead to the weekend, I've got a couple of Premier League games to focus on. Wolves, that's Wolverhampton Wanderers, have been in brilliant form since the former Sevilla, Real Madrid and Spain boss Julian Lopetegui took the reins. They've won 3 out of their last 4 games. I think they should beat struggling Bournemouth at Molineux. Bournemouth's last win came in November, and they're in freefall right now. So combining Wolves with a pretty comfortable win for Man City against Nottingham Forest looks appealing at +125. Those are my 2 moneyline parlays.
Well, Danny said it best. It's for the people. My man is looking forward to the weekend already. By the way, Martin W. Green, apparently skullduggery is a word that we didn't know we needed until right now. What does that mean?
Just devious underhand dealings, lots of kind of criminality, but doing it in a kind of underhanded way, and causing mischief, and generally misbehaving.
So you're describing buckets to a T. There we go. There we go. All right.
Exactly.
By the way, a little added bonus for you. Berg Bets and my man M Squared is in the chat right now. You have any questions for them? Ask them in the chat. They will answer them in real time. Also, AB, our 5-tool player. We got 3 of our very best live in the chat right now just for you. All right, Allie. I'm looking at my notes. And I see a play that people better have their sports books open and ready to play this as soon as you give out. Because if it goes up, you know what we lose, right? You know what we lose. That extra win opportunity. You're up.
Yep. So I'm going to go with the Panthers Caps over 6.5 -105. We just saw this matchup in Florida earlier in the season. The Panthers won 5-2, but looking at the Panthers and Sergei Bobrovsky, he's been a lot worse on the road. So he did keep the Caps to just 2 goals earlier this season, but on the road, he's 7-9-1 and he has a 3.30 GAA. On the other hand, Darcy Kemper, he did give up 4 goals to the Panthers, but he really hasn't been much better home or road. I think he's just kind of been consistent, but also consistently giving up kind of that 3 to 4 goal range, especially against a team like the Panthers. They put up an average of 3.40 goals per game, and they've seen 10 of their last 12 games go over. So I think we'll see a high-scoring game tonight just with both of these offenses and kind of mediocre goaltending. But also, I don't know if people really care about this trend, but 9 straight games between these two have gone over. So that's something that just kind of pushed me over the edge for this play.
Did you just say, I don't know if anybody cares about this stat?
Well, some people don't like trends.
That's very true. I like that one. Though. 9 straight times, I'll roll the dice. Allie, thank you very much. Now, Danny, when we get to this part of the show, it's pretty obvious who's going to go next, because you don't just get to go last on the early edge, certainly not on your first day, but you've got to earn it. But I know that's what you're here for. You're here for the long game. You're here to be a part of the fastest growing sports betting family in the universe. We love everybody, but we want to cash some tickets. So for the first time ever, Danny Brasco. And by the way, you guys know in the chat what we're doing, $100 cold hard cash. Whoever comes up with the official nickname for Danny, it starts today. I think we found one for Grace already. I think we did. I think we settled on one, but keep those coming too. All right, Danny, without further ado, the floor is yours. You're up.
All right, here we go. I'm hoping to, in my debut, I can, on the books, commit round 3 knockout by skullduggery and get it done for the people, which is a word I'll be using as well. But, I mean, some great bets to be had on this sort of under-the-radar fight card. And the first one I'm going to go with is a 23-0 Chechen prospect named Kusain Askabov. And he's facing a good fighter in Jamal Emmers here. It's a good test, but Emmers has been off for a long time. Long layoff due to a brutal knee injury he sustained in his last fight. Yikes. Askabov has multiple heel hook finishes on his resume, which is what blew out Jamal Emmers' knee in his last fight against Pat Sabatini. Askabov is a guy who can take it to the mat, mix it up with the grappling, and I think that's where the big advantage is here. At -130 for a 23-0 prospect who's got 4 million followers on Instagram, I just think he's a guy the UFC wants to win. And Emmers, I don't really know what they're doing with him. So I think this is a good matchup and a debut for Askabov to get it done. I'm going to take him on the money line at -130.
Oh, you can go ahead. You can go through all 4 of them. Go right ahead.
So I'm going to fire away then. I'm also looking at a couple dogs. Next one up is Jim Miller at +190. I just think the line is way too wide here. Normally, I'm looking to avoid older fighters, but Jim Miller is the exception to the rule. This guy has toughness and cardio in spades, obviously grappling mastery. And his opponent, Alexander Hernandez, those have been the 2 question marks in his career, his toughness and his cardio. His chin has been questionable, and he's kind of gassed out in a number of fights, which he did in his last one against Billy Quarantillo, who pushed the pace on him. I think Miller can push a pace on him. He's gotten more power in his hands as his career has gone on. And if it hits the mat, of course, we give Miller the advantage. So at +190 with multiple paths to victory, I think it's well worth an underdog shot. In the main event, I'm taking the dog as well. Erin Blanchfield against Jessica Andrade. Don't get me wrong. Jessica Andrade is one of my favorite female fighters. She is terrifying, and her stock is at an all-time high. She's gotten some fantastic wins in her last few. Standing chokehold, absolutely pulverized Lauren Murphy, but she's getting a totally different style in this one. And as they say, styles make fights. Erin Blanchfield is from New Jersey, but she looks like she's from Dagestan the way that she wrestles. I mean, this girl just puts you on the mat and keeps you there. And I think that's going to be an issue for Andrade. She is a good grappler herself, but not so much off her back. If Blanchfield puts it on the canvas, like we said earlier in the beginning of the show, this is a 5-round fight now and on 8 days' notice for Andrade. If she gets her on the mat over and over again and keeps her there, Andrade might have a tough time in being in Blanchfield's world. So, I got her at +140. She's down to +120, 115 on some books. So grab it now. I think it's a good dog price. And Martin gave us a good 2-leg plus money parlay. So let me follow in his lead and do the same in UFC. It's a classic UFC betting spot, 2-legger with 2 strong favorites. At the top of the card, we got AJ Fletcher. He came into the UFC, got 2 tough opponents, took 2 losses, but I think this is a bounce back win for him here. He's a good explosive fighter. This is a mismatch. I think he gets a win. I'm going to combine him with Nazim Sadykhov. Absolute killer coming out of Serra Longo, sharp kickboxing. I think he's going to be ready for this one, and an opponent that, again, I don't think is on his level. So put those 2 guys together, you're getting +120. AJ Fletcher and Nazim Sadykhov, nice little 2-leg parlay. And there's some UFC picks for the people.
I love when you say for the people already. That's your thing. I love it. A few suggestions already in the chat also, Danny. Danny Knuckles from Aaron. Aaron, he's not in the mob. All right, he's not a mob boss. We're not.
I do like that.
All right, well done. By the way, Guru, can you please handle your boy? Because
What's he doing now? What's happening now?
He's in the chat. He's in the chat, and he's saying, hi, Martin, trying to distract you from the actual show that you are on.
It's just
Yes,
more
Maestro.
skullduggery from Buckets.
Yeah, exactly. Maestro, what do you got?
As you know, I always try to direct people back to the site, and I should point out that Danny has already been on the site for a few weeks. He's hit 23 of his first 28 picks on the site. I'm glad he's on the show now, but anyone who's been on the site has already seen his content.
Thank you very much for that. All right, now we have arrived at the final spot on the show. Maestro, you are now up.
Okay, going to the Pac-12. I'm going to play Arizona State. This line is on the move overnight and continuing this morning against Colorado. Colorado is terrible on the road, 6 straight road losses. They only have 1 road win all season. And the big key for me is Arizona State gets back Warren Washington, 7-footer, leading rebounder. They won the first game in Colorado. They were down 15 at half. They won it on a 3-pointer at the buzzer, but they only shot 5 of 26 from deep. At home, where they have not played well, to be honest. They've lost 3 straight home games. They need to take care of their home court and make a run to get in the tournament. I'm going to lay the points with the Sun Devils.
All right, late night Pac-12 on a Thursday. It's some of my favorite basketball to watch out here on the West Coast. They play Thursday, Saturday most of the time. Oregon, Washington played last night. Most of the time it's Thursday and Saturday. Great picks. I absolutely love them. So grab your paper, grab your pencil. Here is the recap, courtesy of the Snake on the 1s and the 2s. And no buckets. It's not going to be Danny Buckets. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All right, Alabama. Panthers, Capitals over 6.5. Get it in right now. Do not let it go up to 7. We do not want to see a 7. Then Danny Brasco. He's on 4 plays, 3 straight. Zgapov, Jim Miller, Bransfield, and then a little 2-way parlay, which in the UFC and MMA is a really smart way of playing. Completely different than playing games in parlays. Completely different. And then the Guru. Oh, look at that glorious. Juventus, Sporting Lisbon, and then the Wolves and Man City, who put a beat down on his team Arsenal yesterday. But the man... Go ahead, Martin.
Stop it, coach. Stop it.
I'm sorry. And finally, the Maestros on 1 play from the Pac-12, Arizona State -3. By the way, Tiger Woods playing this afternoon with Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas, just an hour from where I'm sitting right now. But I'm dedicated to you at home. I'm not going to miss Early Edge in 5 today at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I will be here, as will EC, the speculator, and maybe Amazing Grace too. Who knows? Danny, did you have a good time? Was this fun for you?
Man. I'm looking forward to doing it more often. As long as we're winning bets, that'll determine if I'm having a good time or not.
Oh, they told you this was more than a one-time thing?
We'll see, right? We'll see.
I'm just playing. Not really. All right, I need my single. There's only one thing left to do. I love this so much. And I believe you all know what that is. Bucket stop. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. Alabama, the Maestro, the Guru, and now Danny Brasco in the fam. And, of course, the Snake, always running thing behind the scenes on the 1s and the 2s. I am the coach. Turn on your notifications. Don't miss one single second of this incredible content. Fun, informative, educate, and entertain. That's what we're all about right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.